Thanksgiving podcast. Let's do this.
Yummy.
Welcome to the Hackaday podcast. I'm Elliot Williams, editor-in-chief of Hackaday.
And I'm Christina Panos, assignments editor at Hackaday.
This is episode 194. Today we'll be talking about the FPV contest, 7 words, lots of coffee, and edible drones. Let's see, starting off the news this week, we have the FPV contest. Starts, well, a couple days ago by the time you're listening to this. And this is a contest to basically put a camera on anything remote controlled and fly it, drive it, swim it around, and or improve the camera system.
Woo.
Do you have any FPV vehicles?
I do not. I'm not
What?
good at flying things at all.
You don't need to fly things.
But I'm not good at things like that. It's not gonna go well. I'm gonna crash it.
A couple years ago, I started flying FPV airplanes, and I've played around with quads. But the funny thing is, these systems are so cheap these days. Like, you can get a camera for $7, $10 on AliExpress, and a cheap pair of box goggles for $50, and there you go.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Okay.
you're set up. That's the whole deal. And the really funny thing is, those little cameras are 5 grams, 9 grams. They weigh nothing. With the transmitter, like, you just put a lightweight battery on that thing and put it on something, and you're off to the races. And so my son had like a little toy remote control car, and we're like, oh, let's put it on there. And we'd put it on the top just with some tape, right? We're driving it all around and under the sofa and stuff. It was really pretty awesome. That was like our first totally ad hoc experiment, and it was so much fun. I think everybody should play around with it.
Well, maybe I'll give it a try.
Surely you have some kind of remote control car kicking around.
Yeah, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, see? You can, on the other hand, go the other way and spend $1 million on a fancy setup. And if you actually fly a lot, getting nice goggles is nice. But is it necessary? No, not at all.
Yeah, I bought 3 guitars so far this year. That's probably not happening.
Yeah, well, that's a better way to spend your money anyway. But those of you out there who do have the gear, enter in this contest. It's the usual deal. There are 3 $150 DigiKey gift certificates, shopping sprees available to the winners. And basically, we want to see whatever it is you can build, whether it flies, drives, swims, any combination of the above. Walks, I guess. Wow, why don't we have FPV walkers in there?
I don't know.
Maybe we will. Maybe someone will do it.
I want to see what it's like to be a strain beast.
Oh, see? Now there you go. That's a good winter project, too. Give you something to do when it's cold outside.
Good for the newsletter, too.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I saw what you did in the newsletter.
That was Tom's. Oh,
this was Tom's newsletter?
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah.
He has like 100,000 FPV things in the newsletter this week.
Yeah.
Check out the Hackaday IO newsletter if you want to be inspired.
You should check it out anyway.
This is true. Even if you don't want to be inspired. Second thing I wanted to talk about super briefly, open source passive radar taken down for regulatory reasons. This is the Kraken SDR project, which is really cool. It basically takes 5 RTL SDRs, puts them together on one board, and synchronizes them with one time source. And that's actually the gimmick here. Because they're all exactly in the same phase, it lets you do like phased array kind of stuff with them. And that is awesome. It opens up radio direction finding and beamforming and stuff like this. But also, at least on the software side, opens up passive radar. So it's like radar, except instead of emitting the pings yourself, you're just using like radio stations or Wi-Fi beacons or whatever else in the environment to bounce off the object and figure out how far it is, where it is away from you. I mean, on one hand, this sounds super awesome and super high tech. And on the other hand, it's so super awesome and super high tech that it's actually kind of a controlled military secret. And exporting these from the US to other countries is probably in violation of ITAR which is the International Trade in Arms R, whatever the R stands for. Regulation, regime. So the Kraken SDR folks are trying to figure out if what they're
This is Daron. K1DBC, the DRC Learning Net will start in 1 minute. All stations, please stand by while the repeaters are placed into net mode.
PL off.
Thank you everyone for joining me here back on YouTube, youtube.com/Denver Radio Club, and the Wednesday Night Learning Net. We'll listen to another minute here of the Hackaday podcast, hackaday.com. A lot of cool stuff here.
probably in violation of ITAR, which is the International Trade in Arms R, whatever the R stands for. Regulation, regime. So the Kraken SDR folks are trying to figure out if what they're doing is within the law or not. But I went and actually looked at the ITAR stuff, and they're pretty much spang in the middle of in terms of the frequency band they use and the resolution they have. They are dead in the middle of the ITAR sites for things that are capable of doing passive radar.
Oof.
Now, it's not the only thing their board does, and this is kind of the bummer, because this is like an awesome, like, general purpose radio hack.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. For December 7th, my name is Daron. Call sign K1DBC. This is a great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics in general, and thankfully we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. Again, my call sign is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie, and my name is Daron, Delta Oscar Romeo Oscar November. I'll be your net controller for this evening's Learning Net. We meet every Wednesday, except the third Wednesday of the month, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time on 145.490 and 448.625. Both have a negative offset. You can contact us at elmer@w0tx.org. We also have a contact page over on our website, w0tx.org. And we're on most social media at Denver Radio Club. We also stream and archive our nets on youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. So if you'd like to see behind the scenes or have additional visual context, that is another possibility. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? You can check in online. We've had one check-in so far. KB3VCU, Rob, appreciate that. w0tx.org/check-in. If you're not able to make it to the repeater or on the radio, again, either youtube.com/Denver Radio Club or w0tx.org/volunteer. All other check-ins to the net will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. That is the first letter after the number in the call sign. If you can, please try to use ITU phonetics for the call sign and indicate if you have traffic or questions as you check in. If your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
Kilo 0, Bravo, Alpha Tango, Art and Aurora, no traffic.
Kilo 6 Hotel Juliet Victor, K6HJV Tom, no traffic.
0 Kilo Papa Sierra Kevin Lakewood, no traffic.
November 1 Golf Uniform Mike Peter in Littleton.
Kilo 0 Golf Papa Alpha Bob in Lakewood, no traffic.
Sierra 0 Echo, KS0E, Alex in Denver.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We'll hold up there for just a moment.
W0TX repeater.
This is K1DBC Net Control. That time I'd like to welcome to knowledge the following check-ins: K0BAT Art, K6HJV Tom, K0KPS Kevin, N1GUM Peter, K0GPA Bob, and KS0E Alex. Thank you all so much for checking in. Once more, if your call sign begins with the call suffix A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
Whiskey Alpha 4, Mike Bravo Golf, Bob and Aurora. WD0CIV, WD0CIV, Charles in Denver. No traffic.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Foxtrot Papa India. Ron in Lakewood, no traffic.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. That time I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins: WA4MBG Bob, WD0CIV Charles, and KF0FPI Ron. Thank you all so much for checking in. We'll go ahead and open up the whole alphabet, actually, Alpha through Zulu. If your call suffix begins with the letters A through Z, this is called K1DBC Net Control. If you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, great place to learn about ham radio STEM topics in general. We're taking all call suffixes, all call signs. Please check in now with your call sign, your name, and let us know if you have any traffic or questions. Please call now.
Kilo Echo 0, November Romeo Echo, Jim in Littleton with traffic.
Kilo Echo 0, Sierra Uniform Mike, Jonathan, Lakewood. Good to hear you, drone.
November 0, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood. Good evening.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We'll hold up there for just a moment. This is KE0N, or I'm sorry, this is K1DBC Net Control. That time I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins: KE0NRE, Jim. We also had KE0SUM, Jonathan. Great to hear your voices and be a part of this again here. And we'll be speaking about that a little bit here shortly. And N0TRP, Jim. So, yeah, great to hear everyone's voices. And, appreciate everyone checking in and this net as in general as well always. So again, if you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, there was a possible double in there. If I didn't call your call sign, let me know. But we're checking all call signs, all call suffixes, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Please check in now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control again. Yeah, pleasure to be back here again. I'm guessing maybe during the holiday time it might be a little bit quieter here. But again, appreciate everyone checking in. Didn't see anybody indicated they had traffic, but we have a lot of things we can talk about. So I'll throw it back out to the net. If you'd like to check in, again, this is a great place to learn about ham radio STEM topics. This is the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. Just a great fellowship, just a good camaraderie. So if you have any projects you're working on, anything you want to bring to the table, let us know. But we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. Please check in now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, youtube.com/Denver Radio Club for some behind the scenes and to provide some additional context to what we're speaking about. If you'd like to visit that, you can. If you can't check into the net via the radio, that's another great place to listen to the net and check in and see what's going on here. I didn't see anybody indicate they had traffic. If somebody indicated they had traffic, or if there's any additional check-ins or comments or questions at the moment, please call now.
This is KE0NRE with a question.
Yeah, KE0NRE, go right ahead.
There are more and more hybrid vehicles on the road these days, and they run partially on gasoline power and partially on battery power. And I was curious if any hybrid owners out there have had the experience of installing mobile rigs in their vehicles, their hybrid vehicles, and whether it's more of a concern or less of a concern in operating those rigs in a hybrid than it would be in a standard car with an ordinary battery in it. And what, if anything, has their experience been? So with that, I'll turn it back to Net KE0NRE.
All right, great question there, KE0NRE, to kick things off here. Mobile setups within a hybrid vehicle, if you don't have any, if it's not gas-powered and or if it's hybrid, is there any things that you need to look out for? As long as it's providing, I'm guessing, the 12-volt battery supply, the 12-volt supply, and don't drain it down, I'm guessing it shouldn't be too dissimilar, but yeah, that's a great question. I'll throw it out to the group here. Has anybody have any mobile rigs installed in a hybrid or pure electric vehicle? If they don't have a 12-volt starter battery, I guess maybe I may not understand the implications of an electric vehicle and or hybrid. So anybody on that, please call now.
TRP.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control, N0TRP. Go ahead.
Yes, N0TRP. I'm just thinking back. I think we did have a few discussions on that. I'm thinking maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and I think Fred did round up some links to that. Might be in the roundtable, but I'm not sure how far back to go. I think the bottom line is yeah, there could be some very significant RFI from the electrical systems in the EVs or hybrids. N0TRP, back to net.
All right, N0TRP.
W0TX repeater.
This is K1DBC Net Control. Not sure if I double over anybody, but if there was somebody there, go ahead.
Yeah, Drone, KE0SUM. Hadn't thought about this a lot. My son has a Prius, but I've never done radio in it. So does the RFI strictly come from all the extra batteries and the fact that it's an electric-powered vehicle? I don't know. Does grounding and bonding come into play?
That's a good question, S.t.e.m. Yeah, I wasn't sure on that. Yeah, I didn't know that there was a lot of RFI issues with electrics. I'm sorry I'm blanking on his name, but he was at our Hamfest and Field Day showing off his Toyota Prius, and he's doing some FT8, so he's doing a lot of cool stuff in his hybrid vehicle there. So, yeah, I didn't know that there was too much RFI involved with some of the hybrids and whatnot, apart from... some of the things I'm reading here is some hybrid vehicles doesn't have a 12-volt starter battery, things like that. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I'll see if I can try to bring the information of the Prius owner here. So TRP, if you know much more about the RFI possibilities within the electric vehicles or hybrids, go ahead.
NZR TRP here. I really don't know. I just remember from the discussion that there was, especially the EVs, more so than the hybrids, just due to the much higher voltages in the battery systems, the EVs really caused some RFI problems. And I'm sorry, that's the extent of my knowledge on the thing. N0 TRP, back to Nut.
All right, sounds good. N0TRP, this is K1DBC. As always nowadays, another YouTuber here, M0MSN. It looks like Mike has some possible information on EV installs and whatnot and what things you need to look out for. So, it's interesting. Yeah, this other person here from about 5 years ago, KN4HZG, mentioned that their car has no 12-volt starter battery. It can't be jumped from a regular car, things like that. So power issues to possible RFI issues. Yeah, there's also a lot of things to check into. But don't take our word for it. Check into these things. I'm not sure. Or it looks like I believe it was... KE0NREJ. I'm not sure what type of vehicle you're planning on getting, or maybe just theorizing about, but it seems to be possible, and it doesn't seem too out of the ordinary from regular gas-powered vehicles. So anyone else on that? Anyone that's already spoken, or anyone else, please call now.
$28,450.
All right, sounds good. I'll throw it back here in a minute. But yeah, I'm guessing it's just like any other mobile install, as long as you can get your transceiver power and get your transceiver connected to power and to your antenna, and appropriate push-to-talk handheld input or whatever it may be. It shouldn't be too much. I'd imagine if there was a lot of RFI issues with electric vehicles, it would probably impact the general RF inputs and outputs of electric vehicles. So I'm going to try to bring up, I forget here his name, but NRE or anyone else on the original question about mobile mounts or mobile rigs within a hybrid vehicle or electric vehicle. Please call out.
HJV.
Yeah, K6HJV. Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Tom, K6HJV. I had both a Prius and a Highlander hybrids, both of them, and I used my handheld on both of those cars with a mag mount antenna, and no problem at all, at least on 2 meters and then up on 70 centimeters. I used both of those frequencies with a handheld. It worked real well. Checking with dealership, there wouldn't be a problem. Just make sure that if you tap off of the doggone car battery, you follow their instructions, because they've got some things that you have to do if you're going to tie it directly into the electrical system. But that's about all I know on it, Duran. And it's great to hear you back on again. K6HJV, back to the net.
Comment, S.t.e.m.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, nice to know those results there. Yeah, appreciate the kind words as well. Yeah, the person, if you showed up at our field day or our Hamfest, it was a WT0R, WT0R, who had their Prius there. So yeah, shout outs to him. Really appreciate. Yeah, some really cool stuff there. So KE0SUM, Jonathan, go ahead.
No, I find it fascinating. With the VHF, UHF, you didn't have any problems, and I think that's wonderful. I don't do HF when I'm mobile. But my other thought was I tend to gravitate toward just operating on battery. Use batteries with the transceivers I'm using in the car and sometimes at home, which I would suppose would eliminate the RFI, but I'm not sure.
Oh, very good input there, SUM Jonathan. Yeah, isolating the power for your radio to a different 12-volt battery. That's always helpful. Yeah, I don't know how the power regeneration works. It's probably the obvious things, whether the inputs that you give it, whether it be solar or somehow regenerate it through diesel or whatever it may be. But yeah, having a separate 12-volt connection for your radio apart from your vehicle's 12-volt battery. That's another, a great suggestion there in terms of potentially getting rid of any RFI emissions or whatever it may be. Who knows nowadays? But it certainly wouldn't hurt.
Comment NRE.
Yeah, KE0 NRE. Go right ahead.
I really appreciate all the feedback folks have given tonight. There are some things that I hadn't thought about in connection with doing this. One of these days, I'm going to pull the trigger on getting a more efficient, fuel-efficient vehicle, or even an EV maybe. And some of the points that have been raised tonight are certainly worth thinking about. And it sounds like even if nobody on the net tonight has personally experienced it, they've at least given me some great leads to follow and see if I can track this down further and anticipate some of the things that might arise when that day happens. So thank you very much, and Daron, good to hear the sound of your voice again. Back to net, KE0NRE.
All right, sounds good there, KE0NRE. This is K1DBC Net Control. Again, appreciate all the kind words there. Yeah, interesting to hear that, and yeah, it'd be great to hear the follow-up. I was trying to bring up some photos. We'd taken some photos of our some of the vehicles that showed up to our Hamfest, which were pretty cool. I don't think I have them on here right now, unfortunately, but I'll try to get them here. So, yeah, a lot of cool mobile setups. Show us your rigs. Show us what you got set up. There's a lot of cool things set up nowadays and a lot of cool options there for you. So let us know. Take some photos and yeah, show them to us. So yeah, really cool stuff there. This is K1DBC Net Control. It is around 7:52 p.m. 1952 Mountain Time, UTC. This is K1DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. I guess at this point in time, I'll take the opportunity to hear if there's anybody else who wants to check in at the moment. This is a great place to learn about ham radio STEM topics. And yeah, a lot of cool stuff we can talk about. So we're taking all call suffixes, all call signs. Please check in now with your call sign, your name, and let us know if you have any traffic or questions. Please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. That time we had AE0RH. Chris, great to hear you. This is K1DBC Net Control. Once more, if you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, just for the count, or if you have any traffic or questions, please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, appreciate all the kind words. It's great to be back here. I can briefly talk about that here in a few minutes or whenever is convenient, but looks like we had a check-in here online. Appreciate that. I think that was Mike. Lost that there. KF0HXA. Mike, got you checked in as well. Thank you so much. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We have another 30 minutes or so. We have plenty of time to talk about whatever you'd like to speak about. Any projects you're working on, whether it be ham radio strictly related or not. Anything that surrounds the hobby we'd love to talk about. So ham radio, STEM topics, anything that you're working on, any electronics, any projects you're working on, we'd love to hear about it. I can bring up a few topics of conversation. But yeah, we have plenty of time. So this is K1DBC Net Control. If anybody has any comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's net, please call now.
I'll throw out a question, Drone. KE0SUM.
Yeah, KE0SUM, Jonathan. Go right ahead.
I've always been fascinated by balance and units. But my question is, I use a 9-to-1 unit on my end-fed half wave, and I wondered what the difference is if I build a 49-to-1. What really happens as far as resonance and frequency goes? Does anybody have any idea? KE0SUM, back to net.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Great question there. Definitely way over my pay grade, but a lot of people on the internet, I'm sure, have some information on this. The difference, what is the difference between a 9-to-1 versus a 49-to-1 Balun when you're talking about an end-fed half wave? I'll throw it out to the group. Anybody have any comments, questions on that? Otherwise, I can try to pass what the cursory information I've found here.
NRE comment.
Yeah, KE0, NRE, go right ahead.
Jonathan, if you swap that 9-to-1 Balun for a 49-to-1 Balun, then those points on your end-fed half wave that previously, or that do have an impedance of around 2,500 ohms, will now be frequencies at which you get a really good match. But those frequencies where you previously had a good match with a 9-to-1 Balun will now be way off and maybe not tunable by the tuner that's inside your transceiver. I mean, that's the very simple answer. Of course, it all depends on exactly how you string up your end-fed half wave and its surroundings and so forth. But just to give you an idea of what's going on, the major difference is you're going to be operating at different points, and none of which may have anything to do with the actual resonance of the length of the wire that you're using as an antenna. So back to net, KE0NRE.
But doesn't it become more resonant at different points?
It'll give you a lower SWR at different points. And if a low SWR implies that it's resonant, then yes, it'll give you different resonant points. But it won't necessarily change the way the electrical signal is being propagated along the length of your antenna. That's going to be determined by the physical length of the antenna and the frequency at which you're working. Back to net, NRE.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, great follow-up there. Appreciate that, NRE. Yeah, great question there, s.t.e.m as well. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, which is essentially it would just shift what's resonant one way or the other, depending on maybe the length of it, and depending on how it's set up. So that's interesting to hear. So, 9-1 versus 49-1 Balun or Unin for end-fed half-wave or long-fed random wire. I'm sure there's a lot of experimentation that's definitely that can be done. So, S.t.e.m, if you have any follow-up on that, let us know, or if you do any things in the future and try some things, let us know on the results.
Well, I've got a question, Jim. Do you think end-fed half-wave, or your own, anybody listening, do you think you really need a counterpoise? K0-SUM.
Comment NRE.
Yeah, KE0NRE. Go right ahead.
You don't necessarily need a counterpoise, but if you do have a counterpoise on your end-fed antenna, then it makes it behave a little bit more like a dipole or an off-center fed dipole than a true end-fed. If you look out there on the internet, you'll find people who say my end-fed works better when I have a counterpoise on it, and there are other folks who say I never use a counterpoise. I simply ground the other side of it directly, and it still works fine. So again, it so much depends on exactly what kind of Balun you have, where you're operating, what your operating environment looks like, how high you've got the end-fed strung, and so forth. But it's a complicated question in general, but that's about all I can contribute at this point. Back to net, KE0NRE.
All right, KE0NRE. This is K1 DVC Net Control. Yeah, this is a very interesting hobby in where that oftentimes your mileage may vary depending on what you're feeding it. The inputs and outputs of what you're trying to solve here may not be exactly the same as what somebody else is doing. So depending on your situation, it may not be one way or the other may not be ideal for you or for someone else. But that's interesting to hear. So appreciate the question there. So if anybody else ever has any questions on that 9-1 versus a 49-1 Balun, things can shift one way or the other. Comments may vary. So generally, you would use a 49-1 for an end-fed half-wave that is resonant on one band. That is just one person's comment here. So there's a lot of information on the internet. So check things out. So I'll throw it back to s.t.e.m or anyone else on that subject. Please call now.
TRP?
Yeah, N0TRP. Jim, go right ahead.
Yep, N0TRP here. I'm kind of in the process of engineering a random wire antenna that I can tune on pretty much any band. And one of the things I'm finding out is without a counterpoise, your coax is going to act as a counterpoise. And if that's the case, then it's critical that you have a choke at the entry point to your shack. Otherwise, that RFI is going to come right down into your shack. So there's a lot of things to consider on that. I'm still trying to learn it all. N0TRP, back to net.
So do you think you need two chokes, one close, say a 9-1 choke or some kind of choke close to the transceiver, or do you need another one, like a 1-1 closer to the antenna? KE0-SUM.
Yeah, I'm not sure N0TRP.
All right, this is K1 DVC Net Control. This is the beauty of this hobby. It is kind of like magic a little bit. And that there's a lot of engineering, there's a lot of things that go into this that we sometimes forget over time, unfortunately. So yeah, there's a lot of engineering that goes into this. Don't take things for granted. It is definitely not magic. There is definitely a right way of doing something that makes it work. So yeah, research into it, do some experimentation. That's the beauty of this hobby is experimentation. So yeah, do what works best for you, whatever mode you're trying to get out on, band you're trying to get out on, whatever it may be. Just if whatever works. So yeah, great to hear information on that. Yeah, anybody else on that? Go ahead. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control.
Question, Drone.
Yeah, Jonathan, KE0SUM, go right ahead.
Those people listening, did someone say they had a mag loop they work with every so often? I'm fascinated by mag loops in the city. They get less noise, very directional and a little finicky, but wondered if anybody had played with mag loops. KE0SUM. Back to net.
This is K1DBC Net Control. I believe somebody mentioned they mentioned a mag mount antenna on a one of the EV electric vehicles we were talking about earlier. But I definitely know in previous nets we've definitely had some people checking in. W0FFC Jerry had mentioned mag loop experience. Here we go. Yeah, I can't remember who else, but yeah, I'm sure there's probably others who have some interest in that. So yeah, if anybody has any experience or interest in mag loop antennas or any questions, or if there's anything specific on that NRE or SUM on questions on that, yeah, go ahead. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. One of our more popular presenters, John W6NBC, gave a presentation about making a DIY magnetic loop antenna in previous times. But yeah, I'm sure we've spoken about it at some point. So if anybody has any comments and questions in terms of using a magnetic loop antenna, mag loop for short, please let us know. All right. Yeah, I guess for the uninitiated, as we always are sometimes, it is just another type of antenna that you could use for transmitting. Portable HF 10 through 80 meters, 6 meters, 2 meters, and 40 and 440 meter. So 3.5, like the whole spectrum essentially that we have access to, a mag loop can basically do. So a little bit more compact, a little bit more portable. I think we've spoken about the Alpha Mag Loop, and there's been some others in the past, and I can't remember which ones they were. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of advantages to them. I'm guessing the costs are right now for these antennas are a little bit higher than some of the other options, but in terms of portability, maybe QRP. I mean, these you can do up to 100 watts with these, really. But in terms of portability and hiking, things like that, these are pretty efficient and effective antennas. So, yeah, good question there, S.t.e.m. I don't know if you have any other follow-up on that or anybody else. Please come there.
I have a little follow-up, Jerome. Nets are great because you should talk about a lot of different things. So I'd ask the group, you have a new friend who's just got his technician's license or his or hers. What first HT would you put them on?
Oh, yes, great question there. First HT, I guess probably some of the obvious answers would be your $20 to $30 Baofangs. But the saying is you buy once, you cry once. So, rather than spending maybe $30 for something that's definitely capable, and we all have one of these, why not spend maybe $60 to $70 more and buy maybe some sort of ICOM or I can't even remember some of the other HTs out there, but pay a little bit more and you'll definitely be getting a lot more value for your dollar potentially. So, yeah, a good question. I don't know if anybody else has any specifics. What would be a good first handheld radio to get? I mean, yes, for a price point, you can't beat a $20 5-watt, 2-meter, 70 centimeter that you can check into IndyNet for. But any intro beginner HTs suggestions out there, please call now. WW0LF, Orland, go right ahead.
Yes, Doran. My recommendation would be Yaesu FT60, Fox Tango 60. Good basic dual band handheld, ruggeder than all heck. It's a little bit bigger, bulkier than the Baofangs or some of the other Chinese ones, but they do a good job. Right now I own 2 of them, but they're a good unit to use. They don't have a lot of all the fancy stuff on them, but it's a good entry level radio, and I'm sure ICOM and Ken would have some equivalent, but the ones I'm familiar with, or the one I'm familiar with that I think is a good one is the FT60 by Yaesu. Or
All right, sounds good there, WW0LF. Yeah, and I got you checked in as well. Appreciate that. The Yaesu FT60. Yeah, great entry-level radio here. I'm sure quite rugged, and yeah, you get what you pay for. So you pay a little bit more, but you're definitely not going to be disappointed. So yeah, it may not have all the features of some of the other things, but it'll definitely be. You'll have it for 10, 15 years, and you'll be able to pick it up 15 years later, and it will still work. So, yeah, great suggestion there as well.
Drone, the FT60 has now been around for 18 years, old enough to vote.
Yeah.
Zero-ish.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point.
TRP.
That is a good point there, S.t.e.m. Jonathan. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know what? Take opinions with salt. Understand. Just do your research. Figure out what works best for you, and what and what works best for the situation you're trying to do. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, great follow up there, S.t.e.m. So, TRP, go right ahead.
Yeah, N0 TRP here. I think probably the first question to ask would really be what their budget is, and then if the digital mode's becoming more popular, if they were interested in that, and also kind of level of their overall interest. But they might want a radio that would also do a digital mode, rather than buy one that doesn't do digital, then get all excited about ham radio, and then be disappointed they didn't have a digital mode to start out with. So I think just kind of get some answers, some questions, and kind of where they are, where they want to go, and how much money they want to spend. And then probably stay in the ICOM or the Yaesu line. That those Yaesu handhelds are pretty easy on the digital modes also. N0 TRP back to net.
All right, yeah, great follow up there. Yeah, what is the price point? Are you willing to help them out? You know, I think we could probably afford to purchase a pretty cheap Bofang for a friend or something here or there. But for some of these more higher price point, higher range radios, yeah, definitely have them keep in mind what is their price point, what do they want to do. You know, you don't want to. You have buyer's remorse sometimes. You buy something and then you put it on the shelf and then you don't use it. So, what is the reality that they're going to be using it and things like that? So, ICOM, Yaesu, these are definitely manufacturers that are people put their trust in a little bit more, but don't be thrown off by some of the knockoff Chinese brands, whatever it may be. Yeah, as spoken, some of the digital modes are out there now, Brandmeister. So you could get an Anytone radio that does a DMR Brandmeister in addition to the 2 meter, 70 centimeter. You can probably get an HT that does the 220 megahertz band, you know. So whatever they are interested in doing and operations that they have, or abilities that they have, yeah, those are all points to take into. So, great question there. Yeah, there's a lot of different price points, and whatever technologies you want to get into, APRS, digital, whatever it may be. So, yeah, great question. Anyone else on that subject, please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control, getting a little bit lost in the weeds here on myself, but a good subject to talk about is separation of bands. You know, you used to be able to buy something that was capable of doing a ham radio and GMRS bands, and I don't think legally you can buy anything like that anymore. You can definitely buy things like that, but over the next 5-10 years, you won't be able to buy something that can do non-ham bands and things like that. So another thing to take into consideration is operating with family or friends that don't have ham radio licenses and things like that. So 2 meter, 70 centimeter DMR Brandmeister. Those are probably some of the most popular modes you'll see around here in the Colorado, Denver metro area. So yeah, take into consideration your price point. We have plenty of repeaters and a lot of integration. We have the Colorado digital group multi-protocol that ties a bunch of stuff together. So no matter what you have, Yaesu, System Fusion, DMR, Brandmeister, whatever it may be, Wires X, you can kind of get into quite a lot of different things. So this is K1DBC Net Control. I'll throw it out to the group. Any other comments, questions, follow-up, anything else in terms of beginner, intro, HTs or anything like that? Please call now.
I'll throw out a comment, Drone. Does anybody have, if you're talking to a new amateur who wants to go into digital, the best digital to go into? From my mind, I think Yaesu did it great. A number of years ago, they sent out a whole lot of really inexpensive repeaters, all for Wires X, System Fusion, etc. And I think D-Star and Brandmeister and things fell behind at that point. But that's just my thought. I'd be interested if anybody else has anything to think or say. KE0SUM, back to net.
That's a great question there, Jonathan. Great point there. I don't know. I'm guessing repeaterbook.com would probably be some of the best people to pose that question to, or have that stats and information. You have to kind of dig deep per city, per state, things like that. So I don't know. Maybe it depends on city, state. I don't know. That's a good question, though. Yeah, it seems like DMR Brandmeister seems to be quite popular here. Not too sure exactly, but depending on the technology, or I don't know the specifics of the technology and what actually is potentially provides greater benefits one way or the other. I'm guessing nowadays, hopefully, everything can be tied into voice over IP and things like that, so everything can be interlinked. So there's probably pros and cons to one or the other, but I don't know about the uptick in what's actually the most popular where and whatnot. So Brandmeister network, things like that. I don't know who would know, but depending on what's more popular in the area that you're trying to operate in, maybe that might dictate what dictates the equipment that you purchase.
But Daron, if you go to skyhublink.com, Jack KE0VH has put together quite an extensive repeater network using hotspots and mostly Wires X, but he's incorporated a number of other digital modes, and I find this all fascinating. While I'm not a really digital person, but he's put together a really interesting network that covers, pretty much the U.S., but a lot around Colorado, Nebraska, etc.
W0TX repeater.
Hey, Alex, thank you. If you want to put it in the chat here, I can pass that along. That'd be awesome. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Comment here in the chat here mentioned Alex KS0. He had a topic for next thing, so we'll come up onto that here in just a minute here. I'm looking through the repeaters. As you mentioned, either analog or Wires X, it seems like, is the more dominant function mode for repeaters within the areas that they serve there. So, that is kind of interesting to see. I don't have a Wires X radio myself. The Denver Radio Club either had or moved away from a Wires X. No, we have a Wires X repeater. It's just it's a funny thing about what people buy, the equipment people get. It's all about timing, it seems like. So, that's kind of interesting. I appreciate you following up on that. Yeah, very cool. Sorry, this is K1DBC Net Control. Got distracted there a little bit. Skyhublink.com/repeaters. You can see what we were talking about there. You can see that most of the analog repeaters that they have are tied in via the Wires X digital mode rather than DMR, Brandmeister, or any other mode. It may compete with analog. It looks like a lot of their repeaters are analog as well, but the digital modes specifically are Wires X. Skyhublink definitely is quite popular nationwide. Didn't realize that point. So, who knows? Go buy a Wires X capable radio. Maybe that's it's a little bit cheaper than a DMR Brandmeister capable. Who knows? This is all quite expensive stuff anyway. So, interesting. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, remember, because of the kind of the experimentation part of the hobby, we have groups like Colorado Digital.net, if I can go back to their website, coloradodigital.net multi-protocol. So regardless of what you have, Wires X, DMR Brandmeister, multi-protocol group. You can come in with all sorts of things here. So whatever you have, D-Star, DMR, Yaesu System Fusion, Wires X, P25, we can all communicate with each other. So coloradodigital.net, another great group to visit, along with Skyhub Link. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We're nearing the end. Not too. There's not a hard stop here, but Alex Acera, KS0E. I don't know if you want to chime in over the net here, but you'd mentioned they have a comment in terms of a topic for next net. Please come on.
Yeah, thanks, Daron. This is KS0E. I'll make this quick. It really is just a bit of traffic, a question for everyone who's listening. I mentioned a little while back that I was trying to get the ball rolling on putting together a contesting group here within the club, just with people who might want to get together and operate under the club's banner to do an HF contest or two. Excuse me, and see how that goes. One of the first obstacles I'm sort of trying to surmount here is finding a location where the group might be able to operate. And so I figured, this might be a decent place to shake the tree and see if anyone has any ideas, whether there are, open clubs that they know about, as in shacks that we could use, or whether they may have a location that they might be willing to let a small group of radio amateurs get together and operate at, preferably indoors. But I figured I'd just put the call out there, and we'll see if anyone has any ideas, and if not, no big deal.
All right, KS0E. This is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, a big part of this hobby is contesting, and it's a hard reach, hard sell sometimes. So yeah, there's a lot of contests that happen. Contest at arl.org. There's another contest website, I believe, as well. There's contestcalendar.com. There's the Parks on the Air, Summits on the Air. There's a lot of opportunities to do a lot of contesting on behalf of the club or your own call sign. So yeah, if anybody is interested, let KS0E Alex know. Potentially any locations that we could meet up and do these things. I know, I think the Discord has done some Parks on the Air, Summits on the Air, things like that. And there's definitely a lot more contesting that we can do within our club ourselves. A lot of fox hunts and CWs and a lot of sprints and things like that. So if anybody has any interest in that, contact Alex KS0E or let us know here on the net. And I believe that would be KS0E at ARL.net. Is that correct?
Actually, I just use my personal email address, and it's up to date on the club's roster. So yeah, if anyone wants to contact me, they can drop me a line there, or I usually monitor the learning nets if I don't check in on YouTube. But I guess I'll take the general silence as interpret that as people are thinking about it. So I'll keep doing the same, and I'll let everyone know if I figure something out. But thanks for the time, Daron. I know it's getting late, and I'll send it back to you. Thanks.
All right, sounds good. Not a problem, KS0E Alex. This is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, we have a position listed here on our club website under office or under the staffs and volunteers of a contest chairperson. So you know, we maybe just put an interim chairperson in here and try to throw your information out there just so people can get in contact with you there. But yeah, please don't hesitate. There's a lot of contesting capabilities. I mean, field day is a huge one, and I frankly dropped the ball on that, quite frankly, but that's just because I take the approach of it's the old Drew Carey show of I can't remember the name of it, but it's the points don't matter kind of a thing. There's so much more to this hobby, but at the end of the day, contests are a huge part of it as well. So, you know, don't let the youth, don't let anybody tell you that contesting isn't still alive and isn't still out there, because there's a lot out there, and there's still. If you find value in that, if you find happiness in that, please do so, because there's a lot of it to do. So, yeah, if we can, you know, gather people within our club to do more contesting, there's a lot to do. So, yeah, look up KS0E on QRZ, and we might start to post that here on our officers webpage as well. So, really do appreciate that, Alex.
Yeah, thanks, Daron. Appreciate it.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. Yeah, it's around 8:30 p.m. We normally stop around this time, but no hard stop to this net. I could bring up a couple things if needed, but if anybody else has any other comments, questions, check-ins so far, there'll definitely be a few more opportunities to check in. But if anyone else has anything else so far for this evening's net, please call now.
W0TX repeater.
Net Control, this is Kilo Mike 4, Charlie Fox Tango checking in.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I just caught the end of that, or just the beginning of that. I'm sorry. I had a check-in of KM4 Charlie something, Kilo Mike 4 Charlie. Can you go ahead and repeat your full call sign once more? Sorry about that.
Yeah, I can repeat that. It's Kilo Mike 4, Charlie Foxtrot Tango, Kilo Mike 4, Charlie Fox Tango.
All right, got it that time. KM4CFT. This is K1DBC Net Control. I got you checked in. I guess I didn't hit the button here. I was trying to get your name here from the online search here. Let me see if I can get that here real quick. All right, Jonathan, got you checked in, KM4CFT. Appreciate you checking in. Yeah, if you have any comments or questions, let us know. Bring up a couple things here, and yeah, probably start wrapping things up here soon. So, yeah, appreciate you checking in. I don't know if you have anything else, anything for the net, let us know.
This is KM4CFT. Don't have too much to add. Heard you guys were talking about contesting and stuff like parks on the air, which is something I've been doing. That's what got me back into ham radio, because I can't really do much HF at my apartment. But I've been doing, got into learning Morse code, so I've been doing CW parks on the air and publishing my videos on YouTube so that people can see what it's like for a new CW user to activate parks on the air. That's pretty much all I would have. Just wondering, I'm actually using a new radio from me. How am I sounding?
Awesome. Great to have you in here. Thanks for checking in, Jonathan, KM4CMT. Yeah, CFT, you're sounding great. Yeah, absolutely. New radio, though, sounding just fine. All clear to the repeater, and no issues. So, yeah, you're sounding just fine.
Okay, thank thank you for that signal report. I'm seeing it on a ICOM IC705 that I just bought it myself as kind of like my own little birthday / Christmas present, and sending through a Signal Stick, Signal Stick Pro I got on sale and whatnot with a little counterpoise that I found out. Because apparently the Signal Sticks don't work well with the IC705 unless you add a counterpoise to your radio.
Oh, gotcha. Interesting to hear that. Yeah, there's always a lot of minutia with this hobby. When you get delved into it, there's always some weird things with your radios and things like that. So, yeah, in terms of on the air, summits on the air, things like that, I would suggest getting in contact with our Discord, w0tx.org/Discord. A person who checked in here earlier, AE0RH, Chris, he helps to moderate that, and I know they've done some outings as well. So, yeah, awesome to hear that. Yeah, we'd love to hear you checking in here or letting us know what you do or more of what you're doing. And yeah, we always are happy to have more social media minded people and getting involved. So, yeah, awesome to see that, and yeah, appreciate to hear you in there.
Right, thank you for that. I'm actually a member of the Discord server. Found out about it during our little ham fest, and yeah, Chris actually helped me get my antenna for Parks on the Air all tuned up and pruned, so I had to replace it with some different wire afterwards, but it works really well. So yeah, I'm always monitoring the Discord, so I try to help out when I can too. So that's all I have, and thanks for running the net. I'll go ahead and hand it back to Net Control. This is KM4 CFT, clear and listening.
All right, KM4 CMT. This is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, great to hear on that. Yeah, I'm so glad and so happy to see the social media side and Discord things around here. Really appreciate our moderators and everyone who can help there. And yeah, anyone listening on the net here, yeah, check things out on our social media. I know that's a little bit of odd thing for some of the ham radio things, but there's a lot of things online now. So yeah, Denver Radio Club on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. A lot of comments, a lot of feedback, and a lot of things, a lot of opportunities to get involved with. So yeah, we're getting pretty close here to the end, but yeah, I'll throw it out. I may throw out one more thing here, but any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else for this evening's net, please call now.
GPA comment.
Yeah, K0 GPA. Bob, go right ahead.
Okay, Jerome. Yeah, glad to hear you back here again. Anyway, I just thought I'd tell everybody this weekend is ARRL 10-meter contest. Speaking of contests, and 10 meters been open quite a bit lately. I've worked quite a few stations. Actually, there's today was Pearl Harbor Day too, and I worked one of the USS Iowa on 20 meters, but then there was a USS Kidd was on 10 meters, but I couldn't hear them. I was listening to a bunch of other people working them, but yeah, this weekend it should be hopping pretty good on 10 meters. K0 GPA.
All right, sounds good there, K0 GPA. Yeah, looks like upcoming ARL contest, at 10-meter contest, 0-100 hours Zulu, December 10th through 2400 hours Zulu, the December 11th. Worldwide CW phone, 10 meters. Yeah, if the band's open, exercise that right. So 36 hours operating hours max. So yeah, 10 meters. So get in there because yeah, some different bands we may not always use, and if you have it, use it. Otherwise, you might lose it. So yeah, 10 meters if you have the equipment. Yeah, appreciate that follow up there, K0 GPA. Sounds like there's going to be some activity out there this weekend. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, don't be afraid to try contesting. You may not think it's your thing. You may not have any interest in it, but try it out. You know, there's probably a good reason that it's quite popular, because there's a lot of I'm sure that it's a lot of fun once you really get into it, and once you start getting a lot of context and starting to understand how the contests work. I'm sure there's a lot of fun that can be had from it. So, yeah, don't dismiss it if you've had in the past. But there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of our members, a lot of other members around the world that are available for that. So, yeah, really cool stuff there. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Appreciate everyone checking in, sticking around. I know the Learning Net here has been going through some changes here recently. I very briefly just want to speak on that. This net is for everyone. Anyone who wants to participate as net controller or as a participant can, and we are happy to have everyone be around here. Yep, some changes here recently. Fred A0JK may not be checking in or may not be running as a net control operator too much here recently, but he is always happy and welcome to, as is everyone. So, yeah, a little bit of a elephant in the room, but I just wanted to very quickly address it. There's no hard feelings, I don't think, from either end. We're always happy to have everyone participating. This hobby, very much like electronics, I think, hopefully, has no skin tone, religion, etc., has no bearing on participation. We're all inclusive, so we're happy as we can be to have everyone's participation as much as we can. So, really happy. I'm glad. I'm happy that he's been able to take the net over the last few weeks here, and I'm happy that if he wants to take the net in the future, and or anyone else. w0tx.org/volunteer. You'll see we have a lot of volunteer opportunities in our club. We have a lot of things, a lot of opportunities to try to help with. If my connection came up here, tower climbers, MCOM coordinators, program coordinators, roundtable Elmer, a volunteer for the Learning Net. There's a lot of opportunities, so we will take all and everyone's help that we can get. So, that's all that I can really say on that. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, I wanted to thank everyone again for being here and for at our last one of our last club meetings. I appreciate everyone electing me into a club officer role. I can't say how grateful I am for that. It's really amazing for all for everyone. You guys really are the ones putting in the effort to this club, and we are seeing the change that we want to be. So, all of that said. Basically, once a month there'll be an officer or board meeting. So if you want to sign up and run the net, there's an opportunity once a month. Otherwise, there'll be a vacant Learning Net once a month until we fill that role. So I'm happy to help you out as much as I can, as much as you want. w0tx.org/volunteer. You can see under net control and check into those, sign up for those opportunities. So. Yeah, I can't thank everyone enough for all the opportunity and all the support over the years. This club really is for you all, and you all are the ones pushing things forward here. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I think I've spoken enough about that. We're definitely over our time here, but I'll throw it out to the net. Any other comments, questions, last-minute check-ins, anything else for this evening's net? Please call now. All right, just to cover club business here very, very quickly, w0tx.org for more information on our club. Upcoming meeting, December 21st, in-person meeting. We'd love to have you there. We're definitely going to try to record it and or stream it, so if you can't make it there, we're definitely going to try to put it up online after the fact. In person at the Highlands Messianic Center. The presentation is going to be, there'll be a dinner, first of all, at 6 p.m. Reservations online. All payments must be made by December 12th. So that's just, it's coming up here pretty quickly here, just another few days here. Presentation is Journey to the Center of the Earth and Mars Seismology with Big and Small Data, presented by Dr. Ebru Bozdag, talking about exploring the Earth's mantle and core, primarily based on 3D numerical wave simulations and full waveform inversion. They are a global and computational seismologist using wave simulations to explore and model the Earth's and other planetary interiors from the crust to the core. I believe potentially a colleague of K0LAI at the Colorado School of Mines here, Ebru Bozdag, doctor, is an associate professor of geophysics. So look forward to that. Pretty interesting presentation and just good fellowship, good meal. So if you can make it, we'd love to see you there. If you can't, we are happy to have you there in spirit. So December 12th is last day to have payment received, and December 21st is when that meeting occurs. w0tx.org/holiday. I forgot to mention that, /holiday to for your payment. What else here? Yeah, you can view all of our recent meetings, w0tx.org/meetings, if you've missed any of those, and all sorts of stuff on our website. So, yeah, I am really happy to be back here, and can't be grateful enough. We are happy for anyone and everyone's help, and as much as you can give, we're happy for that. So we're happy to have you here. We're kind of a family, so to speak, you know, coming into this December time, holiday time. So yeah. With that, this is K1DBC Net Control. I don't have much more. I'll throw it out one last time. Any other final comments, questions, check-ins, please call now. Okay, thanks again, everyone, for being here this evening. I'll play just a few minutes of, if you checked in just before the net on YouTube, the hackaday.com podcast, a really interesting blog and podcast to listen to that definitely has a lot of interest for what we're talking about here. So I'll play a couple minutes of that. But with that, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'll wrap things up here, and we'll finish things up here. So this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, pleasure so much again to be back here. W0tx.org for all information on our club, youtube.com/Denver Radio Club, Denver Radio Club on most social media. Elmer at w0tx.org if you'd like to get in contact another way there. We had a total of 18 contacts this evening, check-ins, excuse me, and we'd like to thank everyone who participated. We especially appreciate and thank our club Elmers. Thanks to the Denver Radio Club for allowing us to use the repeaters for this net. Join us the third Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. for an Elmers session prior to the regularly scheduled Denver Radio Club at 7 p.m. Again, this month, it's going to be in person at the Highlands Messianic Lodge. So that is not going to happen. That may potentially happen online, but it will see that in person for the most part here this month. So apart from that, it is online. So again, thank you everyone for checking in. Yeah, everyone is welcome. Please join us next week, 19:30 hours, 7:30 p.m. for the next Learning Net. All stations, please stand by while the repeaters are placed into normal mode.
PL on.
All right. Again, thanks everyone. Appreciate the warm welcomes back, and we will talk to you all next week.
K0GPA, K0SUM. Still in there, Bob?
Well,
W0TX repeater.
and fly it, drive it, swim it around, and or improve the camera system.
Woo.
Do you have any FPV vehicles?
I do not. I'm not
What?
good at flying things at all.
You don't need to fly things.
But I'm not good at I'm not good at things. It's not gonna go well. I'm gonna crash it.
A couple years ago, I started flying FPV airplanes, and I've played around with quads. But the funny thing is, these systems are so cheap these days. Like, you can get a camera for $7, $10 on AliExpress, and a cheap pair of box goggles for 50, and there you go.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Okay.
you're set up. That's the whole deal. And the really funny thing is, those little cameras are, 5 grams, 9 grams. They weigh nothing. With the transmitter, like, you just put a lightweight battery on that thing and put it on something, and you're off to the races. And so my son had like a little toy remote control car, and we're like, oh, let's put it on there. And we'd put it on the top just with some tape, right? We're driving it all around and under the sofa and stuff. It was really pretty awesome. That was like our first totally ad hoc experiment, and it was so much fun. I think everybody should play around with it.
Well, maybe I'll give it a try.
Surely you have some kind of remote control car kicking around.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, see? You can, on the other hand, go the other way and spend $1 million on a fancy setup. And if you actually fly a lot, getting nice goggles is nice. But is it necessary? No, not at all.
Yeah, I bought 3 guitars so far this year. That's probably not happening.
Yeah, well, that's a better way to spend your money anyway. But those of you out there who do have the gear, enter in this contest. It's the usual deal. There are 3 $150 DigiKey gift certificates, shopping sprees available to the winners. And basically...
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching here. We'll pick up next week. Have a good one.